Hello, I'm Ellen Goldberg, and I welcome you to a tarot moment from the School of Oracles. In this segment, we're going to take a peek at the High Priestess. The High Priestess is the chief feminine elder. She and the Magician and the Fool are actually the only three characters in the entire deck. Every card, every person that we see in this deck is going to be some version of the three of them. The Fool is the superconscious and spirit. The Magician is the best use of the self-conscious everyday mind. And the High Priestess is the guardian of the subconscious. This is why she sits in front of a vast sea. Peek behind her veil and notice the water there. The sea is one of the symbols of the collective unconscious, and our own personal consciousness is just a little inlet or bay off of this vast ocean. She also sits between two great pillars. On the card, they look quite manageable in size, but if we were to see them as they really are archetypally, they would be vast, like big redwood trees. These are the two great pillars at Solomon's temple. The B and the J written on the pillars in the Rider-Waite deck represent the first letters of their names in Hebrew. Boaz for the darker pillar, the pillar of negation, where you just hold your ground and say no. And J for Yod, Jakin, the name of the pillar of affirmation, the yes, the I will, the going forward. And there she is, right in the center. She represents the reconciliation of opposites, and she is a preview for us of the completion of the great work of the marriage of the self-conscious and the subconscious within the self. Another symbol of that is the cross of equal arms that she wears on her breast, which shows the marriage of the horizontal and vertical planes, the horizontal being the earth plane and the vertical being spirit coming down. You can imagine that the point in the center of the cross is of utmost importance. In tarot, she's ruled by the moon, or really we get this association from her Hebrew letter, Gimel, the camel. The moon was given to Gimel in the Sefer Yetzirah, the oldest book of the Kabbalah. The moon is the ship of the sky, just like the camel was the ship of the desert. You can imagine how in the time when tarot was forming, how important that camel was. That camel opened up civilization and connected peoples and countries like nothing did before. Before camels, first they used donkeys, but a camel could travel so much further on so much less. And sometimes the hump of the camel, especially if there's two humps, reminds us of the crescent of the moon. The High Priestess is also in Kabbalistic lore considered the Shekinah, the female aspect of God. For in Kabbalah, the divine equally is divided between masculine and feminine. And for us in our tarot journey, that's the Magician and the High Priestess, although we will see this represented again and again because tarot is very keen on this point. She, reconciler of opposites, sits in front of the veil of Isis, and she wears on her head the crown of Isis, with the full moon, a new moon, and a waning moon, crescents on either side. This is the crown of Isis, and therefore, as they would say, there is no man who can lift the veil of Isis, only Isis lifts her own veil. In other words, you can't force the subconscious. You see her dress towards the bottom is like little wavelets going off the side of the card. Every piece of water, every stream, every pool that you see in the tarot comes from her dress. She is the source. The number 2, well, it represents duality. And duality is the price of existence. On her higher polarity, she represents the reconciliation of opposites. She is peace that comes from finding that reconciliation and inner wisdom. This card and all things that are associated with the moon and with water represent psychic ability. And when you get her well aspected in a reading, then probably they're talking about your own interior channels opening, for she is intuition and wisdom at the deepest source. On her lower polarity, then she is the lower aspects of the number 2, doubt, dualism, being divided, having a closed channel, being duplicitous, and finding no inner peace, instead inner strife. Respect that duality. Sometimes it's shown whether she is erect or reversed, but other times it really comes from the fact that she may be too near cards that are fiery, because this is pure water being ruled by the moon.